Welcome to HD Rare Coins, your ultimate destination for fascinating stories, rare coin discoveries, and all things numismatics. Join us as we explore the world of currency and uncover hidden treasures one coin at a time. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and wondered about its story? Just a simple, copper-colored coin, so ordinary, we rarely give it a second glance. Yet, some of these small tokens of everyday transactions carry secrets that can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. This is the tale of one such coin, the 1986 USA 1-cent penny. It might look like every other penny that jingles in your pocket, but this particular coin holds a value far greater than its humble 1-cent face. Imagine finding a penny worth $115,000. Yes, you heard that right, and it's not some mythical treasure buried in the sands of time, but something minted in relatively modern history. The year was 1986. The United States stood at the edge of transition. Ronald Reagan was midway through his presidency, the Cold War still simmered in the backdrop, and Wall Street buzzed with ambition. It was a time of economic optimism and shifting cultural tides. Amidst this backdrop of global tension and national pride, the Denver Mint quietly produced a coin that would one day become a numismatic legend. Millions of pennies were minted that year. The Denver Mint, designated by the small d under the date, churned out over 4.4 billion 1-cent coins. To the average person, these coins were just spare change. To collectors, most were common. But as with many great treasures, rarity often hides in plain sight, masked by familiarity. The 1986 penny was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating, a standard that began in 1982 when the U.S. Mint switched from the traditional 95% copper composition due to rising metal costs. The new pennies were 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. The change wasn't just economic, it would play a role in distinguishing rare errors and anomalies that only the keen-eyed could spot. You see, not all coins leave the mint perfectly. Despite modern machinery and rigorous quality checks, mistakes happen. And in the world of coin collecting, a mistake can mean money. Big money. The 1986 penny in question is one of those glorious accidents. While the specifics of its anomaly remain part of its allure, collectors agree, it's not the standard coin. It could be an off-metal strike, an error in the die, or a subtle misalignment that makes it so sought after. But what's clear is this, it's not like the others. Now, let's take a journey back to understand what makes a coin valuable. Scarcity is one part of the equation. Historical significance is another. Then there's condition, what collectors call grade. A penny in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth significantly more than one that's been through countless hands, scraped along vending machines, or lived in the bottom of a purse. The legendary 1986 penny we're talking about didn't just survive, it thrived. It emerged from the mint nearly untouched by time, sealed in protective casing, and preserved with such care that its original mint luster still dazzles the eye. Imagine holding a piece of metal, not larger than your thumbnail, but so pristine that under magnification you can still see the delicate ridges of Lincoln's coat. The lettering is sharp, the date crisp, and the D mint mark cleanly struck. This is what collectors dream about, a coin that defies its age, preserved like a time capsule, but rarity and condition are only part of the story. There's also the human element, the passion of collectors, the mystery of discovery, and the thrill of the hunt. For many numismatists, the journey to find the perfect coin is a lifetime pursuit. Auctions, estate sales, coin shows, each one is a possible portal to discovering a hidden gem. And in one such moment, someone found a 1986 penny that would later be appraised at $115,000. That moment transformed an everyday object into a treasure. Let's not forget the design, either. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to mark Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. The reverse design changed in 1959 to the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of national unity and resilience. That design remained until 2008, making the 1986 penny part of a familiar yet culturally rich lineage. The artistry on that small canvas tells a story of leadership, remembrance, and national pride. Now consider the minting process itself. Coins are struck with enormous pressure, sometimes hundreds of tons, ensuring the image is properly transferred to the metal blank. Occasionally, though, things go wrong. A coin might be double-struck, or struck on the wrong planchet. It might have die cracks, off-center images, or other oddities that collectors call mint errors. While some of these errors make a coin worthless, others do just the opposite. They elevate it from obscurity to fame. In the case of the 1986 D penny, the exact nature of the error or anomaly might be subtle, a shift in weight, an unusual luster, or a visual oddity detectable only to trained eyes. It may be one of only a few known specimens, or possibly even unique. That's the magic of collecting. Every coin has a story, but only a few become legends, and so we ask, what makes this particular penny worth over $100,000? It's the intersection of rarity, condition, mystery, and market demand. As word spread about this rare penny and its astonishing appraisal, it created a ripple in the collector world. Prices surged. Bidding wars erupted. For many, it wasn't just about owning a coin, it was about owning a piece of history. Coin collecting, or numismatics, isn't just a hobby. It's an exploration of our past. Coins capture the artistry, politics, and technology of their time. They are miniature monuments, passed from hand to hand, carrying the weight of history. The 1986 D penny is no different. Though young by numismatic standards, it tells a story as rich as any ancient drachma or medieval shilling. But what if we told you that coins like this still circulate? That you might find one in your change? Yes, it's unlikely, but not impossible. Hidden among the billions of ordinary coins are those with secrets, waiting to be discovered by someone curious enough to look. That's the thrill. That's the allure. So next time you're handed a penny, don't be so quick to dismiss it. Take a closer look. Inspect the date. Check the mint mark. You never know, your pocket change might hold a fortune. And now, after diving deep into history, design, minting, rarity, and collector passion, we arrive at the climax of our story. The coin we've talked about, admired, and celebrated, the 1986 D USA 1-cent penny, has a current estimated market value of $115,000. That's not a myth. It's not fiction. It's the verified appraisal of a numismatic marvel. So, what started as a 1-cent piece of currency, perhaps dropped on the floor or forgotten in a drawer, has now become a 6-figure symbol of rarity and wonder. A reminder that hidden value can lie anywhere, even in the smallest, most overlooked corners of our world. The journey of the 1986 D penny didn't end at its appraisal. In fact, that's when things got even more interesting. Word spread like wildfire through online forums, collector groups, auction houses, and YouTube channels. Suddenly, people who had never looked at a penny twice were digging through jars of change, examining every cent under magnifying glasses, hoping they, too, might uncover a forgotten treasure. That's the power of a story. One remarkable find can transform the mundane into the magnificent, and inspire a wave of curiosity across the world. Collectors began revisiting their old coin albums. Dealers received calls from new hobbyists asking, "How do I know if my 1986 penny is the valuable one?" And quietly, among the seasoned experts, speculation buzzed. What exactly was it about this penny that made it so special? Some theories pointed to a rare die variety. Others suspected a transitional planchet, a leftover blank from another year, or coin accidentally used during minting. A few even suggested it was a prototype never meant to reach the public. The truth may never be fully known, and perhaps that's part of the allure, but let's take a step back again. The Denver Mint, where this coin originated, has a long and storied history. Founded in 1906, it has produced billions of coins over the decades, each one bearing the signature, D, that sets it apart. The 1980s were a particularly active time for the mint, as the country dealt with inflation, shifts in the economy, and growing demand for circulating coinage. Producing coins was big business, and a massive logistical effort. Mints worked around the clock, machines humming, dies striking thousands of coins an hour. In such an environment, a rare anomaly could easily slip through unnoticed. That's what makes mint errors so fascinating. They're unintentional, unscheduled, and often go undetected until years later. A simple misfeed of a planchet, a momentary lapse in alignment, or a damaged die can result in a coin unlike any other. And once it's in the world, its fate is up to chance. Most errors get used, worn down, or lost. But a few survive in near-perfect condition, only to be discovered decades later. This is the case with the 1986 D penny in question. Found not in a museum or vault, but through keen observation and a collector's curiosity. That's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's a treasure hunt open to anyone. You don't need to be wealthy or well-connected. You just need to pay attention. For those wondering how to begin, it starts with the basics. Grab a magnifying glass. Learn to spot mint marks, study the obverse and reverse designs, and become familiar with the lingo: die clash, repunched mint mark, doubled die, off-center strike. These are the terms that unlock the world of numismatics. There's a rich glossary of knowledge that accompanies the hobby, and it opens doors to understanding history in a tangible, hands-on way. In a world where pennies are tossed into jars and forgotten, where spare change slides between car seats or clinks inside vending machines without a second thought, there exists a tale that challenges the ordinary. It's the story of a tiny coin, just 1 cent in face value, bearing the year 1984 and the humble D for Denver. At first glance, it's no different from the billions like it. But this particular 1984 D USA 1 cent penny, is anything but ordinary. This one is worth $125,000. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent. $125,000. That IT sounds impossible. Unbelievable. But it's true, and like all great treasures, the value lies not just in what it is, but in how it came to be, and why collectors today are willing to pay the price of a luxury car or a down payment on a home for something so seemingly simple. Let's go back, way back, to the early 1980s. America was pulsing with transformation. Ronald Reagan sat in the White House. The economy was recovering from stagflation. Music was changing. Technology was on the rise. It was the age of synthesizers, VHS tapes, shoulder pads, and economic optimism. While the headlines told stories of global politics and Wall Street surges, the U.S. Mint continued its silent, relentless duty, producing the coins that kept the nation moving. In 1984, the Denver Mint alone produced over 5.5 billion 1 cent coins. That's right, billions. These coins, each featuring the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the stately Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, were minted en masse, meant to facilitate commerce in a growing consumer culture. They passed through the hands of clerks and kids, businessmen and baristas, without a moment's pause. They were background noise and the soundtrack of everyday life, but as in any production process, especially one involving billions of units, mistakes can happen. And sometimes, those mistakes aren't just errors. Sometimes, they become miracles. The 1984 D penny that would one day stun the coin-collecting world didn't appear special at first. It looked like all the others. It bore Lincoln's solemn profile, the year neatly stamped beside it, and a tiny D beneath the date. But what no one noticed at first was that this coin held a secret, a feature so rare, so unexpected, that only the sharpest-eyed numismatists would later identify it. You see, coins are miniature pieces of art. They're crafted with precision dies and immense pressure, sometimes hundreds of tons, striking each blank piece of metal to ensure clear, accurate impressions. But when something goes wrong in the process, it can result in variations, some minor, some drastic. These mint errors are usually caught and discarded. But now and then, a few slip through the cracks and into circulation. These become the legends. And in the case of the 1984 D penny, it wasn't just an error, it was a perfect storm of anomaly, condition, and timing. There are many types of mint errors. Double dies. Off-center strikes. Misaligned dies. Clipped planchets. Strikes on the wrong metal. These anomalies create coins that are instantly distinguishable from the rest, often to the delight of those lucky enough to find them. But they don't all command high prices. It takes a rare combination, a near-perfect storm, to create a coin that doesn't just interest collectors, but ignites a frenzy. In this case, the 1984 D penny was identified as a double die obverse, specifically, one with dramatic doubling in Lincoln's ear. Known as the doubled ear variety, this error became one of the most recognizable and sought after among Lincoln cents. The doubling is clear even without magnification, an unusual trait that made it easy to distinguish and verify. But even among those with this error, only a handful exist in pristine, uncirculated condition. And even fewer still are struck with such precision, detail, and clarity that they rise to the top of grading scales. This is where grading becomes essential. When a coin is submitted to a professional grading service, like PCGS or NGC, experts examine every detail under magnification and specialized lighting. They assess the luster, strike, surface quality, and any visible wear or marks. Then they assign a grade, typically on a 70-point scale, with 70 representing a perfect coin. The 1984 D penny in question was given an exceptionally high grade, essentially untouched by circulation, retaining its mint-fresh brilliance even decades after it was struck. Combine that grade with the rarity of the double die ear variety, the clarity of the doubling, and the intense demand among collectors, and suddenly, you've got a coin worth more than anyone would expect. But this coin's journey wasn't over. Its discovery sparked a wave of renewed interest in 1980's Lincoln cents. People began revisiting their childhood piggy banks, old coin rolls, and forgotten jars. Collectors shared images, compared varieties, and flooded online marketplaces in search of their own miracle penny. Prices rose. Forums buzzed. And beneath it all, the story of the 1984 D doubled ear penny gained momentum, turning it from an obscure curiosity into a crown jewel of modern U.S. coinage. What makes this story even more fascinating is how easily such a coin could have been overlooked. Think about it, billions of pennies produced that year. One tiny variation. One momentary flaw in a die. One blink and you miss it feature on a common coin. It could have been spent on gum. It could have been lost in a couch cushion. But instead, it was found, preserved, and eventually celebrated. This leads to one of the most exciting truths in coin collecting: valuable coins are still out there. They aren't all locked away in museums or private vaults. Some are hiding in plain sight. In your change. In your drawers. In your daily life. All it takes is a little knowledge, a little curiosity, and a careful eye. The 1984 D penny isn't just a story of money. It's a story of potential. Of how the smallest things, often overlooked, can hold immense value. It's a story that captures the spirit of discovery, of patience, and of passion. To understand why collectors would pay $125,000 for a penny, you must understand what coins represent. They're not just money, they're time capsules. Each one captures the technology, the artistry, and the culture of its era. The Lincoln cent, introduced in 1909, has carried the image of America's 16th president across generations. Its reverse design, featuring the Lincoln Memorial starting in 1959, added another layer of symbolic meaning. These coins were used during wars, recessions, celebrations, and everyday life. And when one carries a rare variation, it becomes a piece of that history frozen in time. So here we are, in the present, marveling at a copper-plated zinc disc that once passed unnoticed through countless hands. Today, it sits in a secure case, celebrated by collectors, studied by experts, and desired by many. Its value isn't just in the metal or the error, it's in the story it tells. A story of craftsmanship, chance, discovery, and reward. And for those wondering, could you be next? Could there be a $125,000 penny waiting in your change? The answer is yes. Maybe not exactly this penny. But others like it exist. Every year, new varieties are discovered. New errors are documented. The field of numismatics is alive with possibility. All it takes is that moment of pause, that decision to look a little closer, to ask the question, is this more than just a penny? The fascinating part about rare coins, especially error coins like the 1984 D penny, is that they live two lives. First, their quiet existence in circulation, unnoticed, passed from hand to hand, doing exactly what they were designed to do. And then, sometimes decades later, they enter their second life, the one where they're seen, truly seen, and suddenly become something more. A mistake becomes a miracle. A penny becomes priceless. Imagine the story of the person who found that special 1984 D penny. Maybe it was buried at the bottom of a dusty mason jar of change, saved for years, passed down or simply forgotten. Maybe it sat in a drawer, on a windowsill, even in the console of an old car. For years, no one noticed. And then, one day, someone picked it up, turned it over in the light, and caught something strange. A second look. Then a third. The doubling in the ear was unmistakable. The heart begins to race. The research begins. And slowly, a simple coin transforms into a key that unlocks an entire world. That's what numismatics does. It takes something ordinary and shows you the extraordinary hidden beneath the surface. For many collectors, the 1984 D double-ear penny was the gateway. Once they learned about that variety, they started looking closer at other dates. 1983. Check for transitional planchet errors. 1982. Watch out for large date versus small date distinctions, and those rare copper planchets mixed in by mistake. 1992. Could that be a close AM reverse? Suddenly, pocket change wasn't just spare coins, it was a treasure chest. The beauty of coin collecting is that it isn't just about value. It's about learning. Every coin is a story. It's art, science, history, and mystery all rolled into one small object. Take the Lincoln cent. It's one of the longest-running coin designs in American history, and yet, it's constantly evolving. From its original wheat reverse, 1909 to 1958, to the Lincoln Memorial, 1959 to 2008, and later to the shield design we see today, it has mirrored the nation's journey across time. And what about the man himself, Abraham Lincoln? His legacy adds a certain reverence to the cent. When Victor David Brenner first engraved Lincoln's portrait, it was the first time a real person, outside of allegorical figures like Liberty, appeared on a regular issue U.S. coin. That was a big deal.